We're not going to blow out Happy Eardrum, so we're going to move this up slightly. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming out to the January meeting of City Island Rising. Given that we had a small snowstorm last night, and it's a holiday, I'm really heartened to see so many people who came out here. These are the diehards and the proud, and we appreciate that. And we're going live now on Facebook. I know a few people have been texting because with the weather and the ice and everything, they didn't feel comfortable going out or are traveling, so we just want to make sure everyone is up to speed on what's going on. And we have a busy agenda. Everyone has the agenda pretty much? Okay. Lou, can you text Abby the agenda so that way they can share? But everyone else, I should have just sent it to you, so that way we can. We're just trying to save some paper, and also, I'll be very honest, my printer ran out of ink cartridge today, and I didn't have the time to go to Home Depot, particularly since they moved the one in Co-op City, which I'm not proud about, but need to get over. Thank you. Happy 2025 to everyone who's here tonight. Wanted to start with some of the outstanding items in the community. We're just going to take it from the top of this agenda. At any point when we get done with each item here, the grouping of items, just raise your hand. I will stop. I will answer whatever me and the board who are here will answer any questions you have. I want to acknowledge our board members who are joining us in person today. Louisa Benedetto behind the camera over there, and Jeff Cunningham, who's right over here to my right. With that in mind, it's been a busy year, and while we didn't have a November meeting, we were still very active, and I wanted to update everybody as to what's going on. First, we had our swap event. This is our event where you can come, you can bring your good quality used stuff. We had it in the park 2 years ago. This last year in December, we had it in Grace Episcopal Church. Got a great turnout, got a lot of goods, and a lot of goods were donated to charity. Dave Diaz, who's on our board, is making sure that goes to the proper, food drive, not food drives, but clothing drives, things along that nature. And we got a ton of books, which are going to be recycled through Bronx Bound Books. So we're grateful for that. And, the event was a success, and we hope to do it again next year. If you're interested in volunteering, you can just email us at cityislandrising, one word, @gmail.com. And as the event comes up next year, we will keep you informed. Also in November, we had, I guess swaps in December, but in November, we had the Rodman's Neck Monitoring Committee meeting. The expectation is they're going to start work on Rodman's Neck in 2025, shovel up, by the end of 2020, shovel in the ground. I know we've been told this for a while, but it seems like everything is moving forward as quickly as possible. As they're doing construction there, the range is going to be in use. And while they had made previous promises they were going to soundproof the range during their construction, they are actually not going to do that with the new contract. But things seem to be moving in the right direction. I can go into particulars. We sent them a whole list of things we wanted them to answer questions on after the meeting, asking them what sort of environmental quality review that had been done at the state level, or DEC review of the documents. We asked them for details on all the drainage and other resiliency measures that will be installed as part of this project. We asked them if they could start using electrical billboards instead of a public announcement system, because a lot of the people, particularly on Bay Street, don't like to be awoken to the sounds of a drill instructor at 6 o'clock in the morning. And some of them, I can't believe it. It's the sense of community just blaring through your window at 6 o'clock in the morning. We had questions about the lead. They're going to be using different types of traps. Remember, 85% of the range is due to be enclosed. So we had questions about the traps they're going to be using to capture the lead. And how many of the outdoor ranges will still be in operation. Our understanding is it's going to be only one for snipers, but we'll see what happens there. I share the chagrin that was just announced from one end of the room here. And then we asked for mitigation efforts that will be taken to protect local wildlife. How many issues, have there been with respect to that? And we asked what they're going to be doing with the bomb squad. As it stands right now, there's not supposed to be any sort of change in the bomb squad. While members of this group were active in the effort to get the email notification that many of you received, which you can sign up for at Notify NYC if you're not. You can private message or email us if you have any questions about that. We are trying to see what they can do to enclose that and what sort of environmental hazards might be as a result of that. So that's where we stand with Rodman's Neck. We are working to do a wheel lock event. This is not as big of a problem on City Island, but it's a problem in the general 45th area. And it has happened here where people steal the hubcaps off the cars or things like that nature. So we're going to work with the 45th precinct to try to buy a series of locks that people can put on their wheels and try to do a big activity out of it. We've already got buy-in from the 45th precinct. I just have to sit down with the board and finalize how much is going to be spent, what we're going to do, things along that nature. So we are working on that. We also, tonight we were hoping to be joined by a representative from Bally's Links, which is the former site of the Trump Links. They are trying to develop that into a casino in Throgs Neck. They're going around to present at all the community groups. They reached out to us. Some of our officers sat in on a presentation, but they want to come present to the community. So in keeping with that, we invited them to this meeting. Unfortunately, it being a holiday, and we only invited them last week, they weren't able to come this week, but they really, really want to come next month. So should be a fun-filled meeting with a lot of information. Again, this is something that a lot of different groups are involved in, particularly those who are more directly affected in Throgs Neck. So what we are going to do is just listen to the proposal and make sure that your questions are being answered. There's a lot of different steps to this. First, it has to be approved by the state, I believe it's the Racing and Gaming Board. And then if that is approved, they've requested some alienation of parkland, which would also require city and state sign-off. So there's a whole big process for this. We are at step one. We're not even at really step one yet, but we want to make sure that everyone has heard the proposal and is just aware of what's going on in their community. We're also going to be doing a Narcan training. I don't have all the details yet, but it will be sometime in the spring. If you're interested, just email us, cityislandrising@gmail.com. We do this every other year. We usually get about 10 to 15 people who sign up. It's about an hour of your day, and you get a free Narcan kit when you leave. And I know a lot of people will keep that. They'll put it in their pocket, their purse, what have you, when they go out at night. And you know what? God forbid you come across somebody who's having an overdose, and this neighborhood has suffered with a lot of overdoses over the years. You could very well wind up saving a life. So again, the course will be free. We will extensively advertise it. But if you're interested in taking it and getting a Narcan kit, just email us and let me know, and we will sign you up for that. From our last meeting, there were a bunch of quality of life concerns. I put them all on the agenda here, so I'm just going to rattle them off real quickly. Someone asked about benches. We reached out to the DOT. The benches would need to be done through they would need to be approved by the street furniture unit, and there's a design committee if we do our own benches. But they also said, we had put in a request, and I said this at the last meeting, we had put in a request to put a bunch of bus shelters, kind of at different areas. We only have 2 bus shelters. One's at Fordham Street. The other is over by Marine Street, right outside of Sammy's Shrimp Box, former Tito Puentes. And yeah, we had put in to try to get bus shelters elsewhere because when it's, when there are weather conditions, it really, it can cause a problem for folks, and it can be tough for folks who are taking the bus. They got back to us, DOT, and they're not going to put them at every place, but they said if we can kind of rally the community behind a consensus of one place where it can go, they're willing to re-examine it. It's important to realize also, with respect to the sidewalks and what have you, there needs to be a maximum clearance level. In Pilot Street, because a lot of people would think Pilot Street would be a good location. I agree with you. But Pilot Street, the sidewalk gets very narrow there because of the church and the fencing and everything like that. So We're going to reach out and talk to them and see if they have any interest in maybe trying to amend that, but it's probably going to have to be somewhere else. If you look at the places where it is right now, both on Marine Street as well as Fordham Street, you're talking about a very, very, very wide sidewalk where a bus shelter can fit. So that is a prerequisite, that is a requirement. So we're trying two different strategies here. One, we're going to look into, and if anyone knows a good carpenter who's willing to do this, one is, we do have some money, maybe we can build a bench or two, because I do think that it's actually a very good idea. And then the second is working with DOT and the MTA to get a third bus shelter on City Island. So that's where we stand with that. Streetlights, deer, all that fun stuff, the parks conditions that have been going on for 10 years. I don't know if everyone noticed, but they did resurface a piece of the roadway between Turtle Cove, right by the Turtle Cove area on City Island Road. They resurfaced it. I spoke to the Parks Commissioner. She let me know. I said, that's great. There's still a lot of other areas of the park that have a lot of potholes. She said she'd be getting back to me. We did have a meeting with them last year, so we are going to continue to push on that. Again, we all live here. We're all members of this community. All of our vehicles have suffered the same wear and tear on these roads. That some look like the moon landing out here, but we are trying, and we will continue to push forward. I want to thank Stephen, particularly here. He went out, he took some 311 complaints. DOT noticed those. I went out and took some photos. They're supposed to be dealing with this. It's a larger issue with the electrical grid with all these lights. That's why this has been going on for 10 years. Also, most areas of the city, if you notice a light pole, not in Pelham Bay Park, outside Pelham Bay Park, there's a number on the light pole. Almost any other street in the city of New York, they'll have that number, and it's very easy to call in. For some reason, in our area, there are few numbers on the light poles. So it makes it very difficult to call in, makes it very cumbersome, and again, it's a pain in the ass. So we are trying to address that. Street cleanings, I know someone brought this up. We've been looking into it from a nonprofit perspective. If there are grants we can apply for street cleaning, either with an elected official or elsewhere. Come on in. For an elected official or elsewhere. We're also going to have a conversation with the sanitation department and see what can be done to expand that way. So I hope to have a much more in-depth answer on that, or depth answer on that, by the next time we meet. And the dog run request. So obviously everyone kind of wants a dog run. There's a lot of four-legged City Islanders out here, people's fur children and whatnot. They can't put it outside of Ambrosini Field, unfortunately. That's what they're saying. What we've been trying to do is see if perhaps down street, right, the area between Seafood City and the catering hall, because that was supposed to 20 years ago. There was a restrictive declaration. There was supposed to be some level of waterfront access. So we're following up with both the Parks Department and the Department of City Planning. I emailed them today to see if that area is ever going to be publicly opened, and if so, then we can go to the state senator's office, the assembly member's office, the council member's office, borough president's office, and lobby for funding. Yes?
What do you mean waterfront access?
As a condition of building Seafood City 20 years ago, there was supposed to be an area for waterfront access. If you go down there, there's actually a sign that says all this. And I don't know what happened, but over the years, there hasn't been access. And I know people have concerns on certain streets with access, and I'm not trying to get into that can of worms. What I'm saying, though, is that perhaps working with the business and working with the city agencies, perhaps we can all come to an agreement, particularly with our elected officials, to get some funding to put a dog run there. As I said at the last meeting, a lot of people have been I'm trying to think of the right way to put this. They've been, where could it be put? Certain people might not want it on their block, whatever. But if you put it on that block, no one lives there. So the chances of it being disturbing to one particular resident of the island with barking dogs and all that really wouldn't be as much of an issue. So, and it's right, not quite, but more centrally located on the island than other places. So we're trying to just pursue this, trying to see if it's feasible. So again, 20 years ago, there was a restrictive declaration. There was supposed to be waterfront access there. I think over the years, it just was not maintained or nobody stepped up. So we're trying to get the whole story together on that. Finally, on this section, we're doing our community organization active in disaster. This is our COAD group that many of you have been coming to the meetings on. We had a meeting of the COAD group, I want to say in October, shortly before the elections. We had Janice Halloran come. She runs the emergency department at Jacoby Medical Center where I work. She did a vulnerability assessment with all of us. There were about 20 to 30 people who were there. It was very illuminating, and we're actually going to digitize that whole the presentation they gave and the survey, and we're going to put it on our website in the next 2 weeks. So that way, if you missed it, you can watch the meeting, take the survey, and help us come up with what we all view as our most vulnerable points on City Island. Does anyone have any questions about anything of that sort that I just laid out? Okay. Community issues, as everyone here might have seen, might not have seen, a few years ago, we had the speed camera put in by Carroll Street over here. Now a second speed, because people are speeding down the avenue, it's one of the most common complaints that everybody gets here. They put a second speed camera by Pilot Street. This was triggered by, one, yes, our request, but also a lot of City Islanders have been trying to get, including us, or many of us, have been trying to get a stoplight on Pilot Street for a long period of time. Keeps getting denied. It doesn't meet the federal warrants for a stoplight. You need 500 cars on the major street, 100 cars on the minor street, which would be Pilot Street, and where you need 5 preventable accidents in a given year. That hasn't happened there. But DOT did put the speed camera there, and from what I understand, the area is going to be undergoing some further examinations for other street treatments they can do. We suggested perhaps building up the sidewalk a little bit. If anyone here is familiar with Eastchester Road, they've done a little of this. It's trying to make a safe corridor for seniors. We thought that might be helpful here if you there's already a bus stop there, so no one can park anyway. So if you just built up the sidewalk a little bit, it's been shown to make people slow down, but chances are the speed camera being there and hitting people will probably make them slow down too. But yeah, further street improvement projects seem to be likely for City Island going forward. 2, I'm pleased to announce that we have finalized our placard for the ferry, the Yes the Ferry campaign. It's going to be a storefront sign. We're going to print up somewhere between 500 and 1,000 of them. We're just getting estimates from the printing company. I can show everybody on my phone, and we'll post it under this video so everyone can see it later. Unfortunately, if I put it up on my phone, not all 25 of you are going to be able to see it from here. So we're going to work on that. But we do have it finalized. We're just getting printing estimates. We have one printer estimate already, but I took it to 2 other people, so we'll get the best price. Number C, and
What is the signage going to say?
it's going to say, "We say yes to an NYC ferry on City Island, shorter commutes, less traffic, revitalize City Island Avenue." Some iteration thereof. And then it's going to have a QR code on it that says "Join our effort," and there you can go to the ferry website, sign our petition, sign everything like that. So we should have, I was trying to get the estimate and get everything approved by this meeting. Unfortunately, life doesn't work that way, so I'm working on that. But we should have these signs ready to go in the next 2 weeks. Again, it's just about getting the best price for what we're doing here. We have the daffodils, which I know I need to get you. That's why I put it on here. It reminds me. And we still have a few stump pumps that were generously donated by Senator Fernandez last year. So if you're interested in pumps, I'm not sure if it's a stump pump, but it is a pump. Pumps or daffodils, email us at cityonrising.com or see me after the meeting. We still have some to give out, and we'd love to get them to you. The flood net sensors, which I misspelt on this, which I will fix later. These are the sensors that are on 3 different blocks on City Island. They're measured by the city. It's on Ditmar Street, Tier Street, and used to be on Miniford Avenue, but it's not on Miniford Avenue. Actually, maybe it is on Miniford Avenue. They're going to be expanding these. There's going to be flood sensors within Pelham Bay Park. definitely by Turtle Cove, because we all see the mass that is by there. But the whole purpose of this is that this measures as the tide comes up, flash flooding, all these things, and it has shown over the years, particularly at the end of Ditmar Street, is one of the most flood-prone locations in the city of New York. And these are their sensors. So we volunteered, we helped get them stationed, they hook up to my internet. But the point is that this is their data. So we're showing them using their own tools that this is a very serious problem. And our hope is this leads to some resiliency improvements throughout City Island in the months and years to come. We'll keep you all posted there. Cell phone reception in Pelham Bay Park. I aired at our last meeting. I saw a lot of work happening down by, when you're going to get on the Hutch, that little bridge there was a lot of lights and stuff down there. And I thought, oh, they're finally starting to improve the cell phone tower that was there because they promised us to do so. Not quite. So they found that there was some sort of bird encampment there. And they actually, because it's not federal property, had to bring out like some licensed, I don't know the terminology here, but like someone from the Bronx Zoo had to come out to determine were the birds an endangered species, would this really affect the natural habitat of these said birds, was this, and thankfully they determined that these were not some sort of endangered species issue here. So I'm just waiting to hear back from T-Mobile. Has the work started? And obviously that's going to help everyone here because it should improve everybody's cell phone reception within Pelham Bay Park. God forbid there's an emergency situation. We want everyone to be safe and everyone to be able to access emergency services if that is what they need. So for those who watched the last October meeting and had a sense of hope that this would be resolved soon, my bad. We will try to get it resolved as soon as possible. UPK and 3PK, everyone knows UPK is now in the school as a result of our elected officials. This is the universal pre-kindergarten for the 4-year-olds. They moved it into PS 175 as the school census went down. They had space that they could use for that. What we're trying to do is we had a contract approved with Bronx House to do UPK, 3PK on City Island. 3PK is UPK for the 3-year-olds. We had a survey that was done by Teresa Cavaney, who's on our board, who's very involved in the PTA. 40 young families on City Island filled out this survey. We sent it to the Department of Education. They have been less than responsive. We finally got back a response. They're kind of hemming and hawing, so we're going to bring it to our elected officials to push on them again. We said, well, we sent you data for 40 people. They said their numbers don't show that there's a need for 3PK on City Island. We asked them to see the numbers. They are getting back to us. So we will continue to pester them and hopefully make a difference because there is a need for 3PK on City Island. And I'm trying to use some of our, vulnerabilities and try to turn them around. The fact that there are now even more vacant storefronts on City Island Avenue does provide more opportunities to potentially do 3PK. So I'm trying to get them to renew the previous contract and maybe try to get the nonprofit provider into one of those things. So to be continued. Pop-up projects, we talked about this at the last meeting. What we're going to try to be doing, particularly for the spring, we have these daffodils we have an abundance of, is schedule a few events that doesn't require more than 5 people to volunteer, but on short notice we can put something out on social media, donate an hour or two to beautify the neighborhood, what have you, and it will just be a fun way for people to volunteer. And if we get more than 5 people, fantastic, but do events small, thank you. More events to scale so we can do things that are quick, nimble, but improve the appearance of the neighborhood that we all care about.
John?
Yes?
Did you tell the garden club?
Not yet, because we don't have a project yet, but when we do have a project, we will let them know.
Yeah, because we would do it in a minute.
Great. We can all do it together. Okay. Does anyone have any questions on the community items or anything related to the last 2 things we talked about? Okay. Marilyn from Senator Fernandez's office is here. Let's give her a round of applause.
Yeah.
She was off today, but she decided to end her day off coming here. So That's not easy to do on a 3-day weekend, so we appreciate you.
Hi everyone, my name is Marilyn Selema. You guys can call me Mari. I prefer Mari. So I'm actually Senator Fernandez's new district director. I started in October, but now that the holidays are over, I'm done giving out turkeys, candy, and hot cocoa. So now I'm attending meetings. I just have a couple of announcements, some materials to give out. First, the senator was actually recently assigned her new committees. She will remain the chair of the Senate Alcoholism and Substance Use Disorders Committee, and she is now, some of them I think are new, not all. She will remain on the Committee of Insurance, Labor, Mental Health, Rules, Transportation, and Agriculture, so that's new. We're still waiting on our subcommittee assignments, so I don't know what those are yet. As for upcoming events, we've invited a representative from the State Comptroller's Office to process unclaimed funds for our constituents. I gave out a couple flyers. I have more. I'm happy to share them. And then we will be hosting the Bronx Delegation Budget Forum virtually on February 6th. I also have flyers for that. And then finally, I have some materials regarding MTA congestion pricing, some discounts and exceptions. We've had a lot of people call in asking what discounts and exceptions are available to them, and just general information about congestion pricing. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for welcoming me.
Lottie, thank you for that. Does anyone have anything under old business, new business, non-business business? You guys have made this really easy today, I have to say. If everyone can, just please fill out one of those purple Post-its and put it on the board here. We want to make sure we're taking everyone's input in. Even if people are maybe, public speaking is not their thing, their voice is still just as valuable. And we want to make sure we're incorporating all of this into the project, community improvement projects as we go forward. For those who are watching online, and I know a few people are watching online, we are going to, we will just post a copy of the map, and if you want to either private message or post underneath this video, we welcome any sort of input you have watching this after the fact. So without further ado then, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. We kept it quick, only 30 minutes, and we'll see you all next month. Thank you all very much.